Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jai Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jai Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladev Jaya Subhadra. Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotra Sada Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotra Sada Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जाए। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जाए। नवद्वीप श्री मायापुर धाम की जाए। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जाए। गंगा माँ यमुना माँ की जाए। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जाए। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाए। Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution की जाए। The Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shri Gaunithai की जाए। The Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan जी की जाए। The Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani की जाए। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाए। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए। गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, entitled Instructions by Maharaj Prithu, text number 28 and 29. Manor Uttana Padasya Manor Padasya Dhruvasyapi Mahipate Dhruvasyapi Mahipate Priyavratasya Rajarshe Priyavratasya Rajarshe Angasyam Shatpituh Pituh Angasyam Satpituh Pituh Idrasanam Athanyesha Idrasanam Athanyesha Ajasya cha bhavasya cha Ajasya cha bhavasya cha Prahladasya baleshapi Prahladasya balesyapi Krityam asti gada bhrata Krityam asti gada bhrata Manor uttana padasya Dhruvasyapi mahipate Priyavratasya rajarshe Angasyam shatpituh pituh Angasyam shatpituh pituh Idrisanam athanyesha Ajasya cha bhavasya cha Prahladasya baleshapi Krityamasti gada bhrata Manoruttana padasya Dhruvasyapi mahipate Priyavratasya rajarshe Angasya smatpituh pituh Idrishanam athanyesham Ajasya cha bhavasya cha Prahladasya baleshapi Krityamasti gada bhrata Manoruttana padasya Dhruvasyapi mahipate Priyavratasya rajarshe Angasya smatpituh pituh Idrisanam athanyesham Ajasya cha bhavasya cha Prahladasya baleshapi Krityamasti gada bhrata. Yes. No one. Matajis, anybody? Mano of Manu, Swayambhu Manu, Uttanapadasya of Uttanapada, the father of Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruvasya of Dhruva Maharaj, Api certainly, Mahipate of great king, Priyavratasya of Priyavrata, in the family of Maharaj Dhruva, Rajarshe of great saintly kings, Angasya of the name Anga, Asmat, my, Pituhu of my father, Pituhu of the father, Idrisanam of such personalities, atha also, anyesham of others, ajasya of the supreme immortal, cha also, bhavasya of the living entities, cha also, prahladasya of Maharaj Prahlada, balehe of Maharaj Bali, cha also, api certainly, krityam acknowledged by them, asti there is, gadabhrata the supreme personality of Godhead who carries a club. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Gaunithai ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ji ki jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mahārani ki jai. Translation. This is confirmed not only by the evidence of the Vedas, but also by the personal behavior of great personalities like Manu, Uthanapada, Dhruva, Priyavrata, and my grandfather Anga, as well as by many other great personalities and ordinary living entities, exemplified by Maharaj Prahlada and Bali, all of whom are theists, believing in the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who carries a club. Please repeat. This is confirmed not only by the evidence of the Vedas, but also by the personal behavior of great personalities like Manu, Uttanapada, Dhruva, Priyavrata, and my grandfather Anga, as well as by many other great personalities and ordinary living entities, exemplified by Maharaj Prahlada and Bali, all of whom are theists, believing in the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who carries a club. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Narottam Das Thakur states that one has to ascertain the right path for his activities by following the footsteps of great saintly persons and books of knowledge under the guidance of a spiritual master. Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya. A saintly person is one who follows the Vedic injunctions, which are the orders of the personality of Godhead. The word Guru refers to one who gives proper direction under the authority of the Vedic injunctions and according to the examples of the lives of great personalities. The best way to mold one's life is to follow in the footsteps of the authorized personalities like those mentioned herein by Prithu Maharaj, beginning with Swayambhuva Manu. The safest path in life is to follow such great personalities, especially those mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Mahajanas or great personalities are Brahma, Lord Shiva, Narada Muni, Manu, the Kumaras, Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Yamaraj, Bhishma, Janaka, Sukadeva Goswami, and Kapila Muni. Om Janatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangam langaite girim, yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarina. So Prithu Maharaj, he's speaking to the people in general about the existence of the personality of Godhead and the truth of how life should be, what sacrifices have to be offered. All these things he was giving instructions to his citizen. And he's saying that these things he is not manufacturing, he's speaking these things on the authority of Guru Sadhu Shastra. Anyone speaks anything, it must have some basis. Without such basis, it just becomes mental speculation, one's own opinion. Today, unfortunately, everybody has their own opinion. Nobody wants to know the truth. Because truth is very bitter. Because truth is exactly what opposite what we are doing. That is why we don't want to hear the truth. The truth is mentioned in the Vedic literature. Vedic literature or instructions given by God for the humanity. Dharmastu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So dharma means how human beings must conduct themselves in this mortal world. That is called dharma. There may be different dharmas are there, in the sense different grades of dharma may be there, but the highest dharma is actually to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. So, there is no need to simply argue that this is the dharma, that is the dharma. There are different people argue, and they try to establish that this is the highest dharma by argument. In fact, the dharma is never established by argument. Tarko apratishtaha Shrutayo vibhinnaha nashar vishiryasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya mahajanoyena gatasya pantha. Dharma is established simply by following great personalities who have chalked out a path for general people like us. So simply following such great personalities is tantamount to dharma. There is no need to do research, there is no need to invent new things. Simply one has to follow. Generally, in the modern scenario, if you follow someone, you are not considered as very intelligent. But in the Vedic scenario, if you follow someone strictly, you are considered very intelligent. Just see the perspective between modern understanding and the Vedic understanding. If you always try to differ from your previous, authorities who have established, like for example, scientific research. Scientific research has come to this stage because the present scientists have differed from the previous scientists and tried to establish something new. So that is why science has evolved so much. That's what we say. Whether science has evolved so much or not, but the standard of life has come very, very poor. We know it very well. So if we have evolved so much, why should we suffer so much? We should actually be happy than our predecessors. With less facilities, with less gadgets, they were very happy. Our predecessors were very happy. But with all the facilities that we have today, we are not very happy. Why? Because we have lost the path. The real path is to traverse towards the personality of Godhead. So there is no point in simply arguing. Tarko apratishtaha. Nobody has ever realized truth by argument. Truth can never be established by argument. Truth can only be established by following authorities. So there is so much debate that is going on, what is right, what is wrong, in all news channels all over the world, different personalities, eminent personalities are called, and they are asked to give their opinion. And in the conclusion, there is no such conclusion actually in those arguments or debates. There is simply chaos, that's all. And after that, everyone is frustrated, everyone shouts on the other. Uh, one tries to outshout the other person. And then finally, the people who watch that show, people who speak, everyone is frustrated and they go away. So that is how not the truth is not established. Truth is established by submission, surrender. That is how truth is established. So that is why it is said, then one may question that, how can you simply believe something like a blind faith? You don't use your intelligence, because it is said that when you are following someone, that you don't use your intelligence much. You simply have to follow someone. Why should you use your intelligence in following someone? Because their intelligence is there, they will tell you to do something like this, so you do that. So why you have to use your intelligence? Then what is the purpose of our intelligence? Why Krishna has given us intelligence? If it is not to be used, if it is only to be followed by somebody's intelligence, if we have to follow, why should we have intelligence at all? So here is the point. We should have intelligence because the function of intelligence is to ascertain the Guru's words are aligned with the previous acharyas and the shastras or not. That is what we have to ascertain. Not simply blindly following somebody. The person who is teaching us, whether he is in line with his previous authorities. That means sadhus. So sadhus means previous acharyas. And the previous acharyas are those who follow the Vedic injunctions. That is Shastra. So Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So unless there is a complete concurrence amongst these three, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, one cannot accept someone as the spiritual master. So it's a big process to come to the conclusion that this is the spiritual master. From this person I can accept instructions because he is completely in line with his previous acharyas who are actually completely following the scripture. So that is the function of one's own intelligence. One's own intelligence is not meant to invent new things. Rather, to follow the already established truths. Even to follow the truth, you need intelligence. Following is not simply, with a mindless activity or bereft of intelligence. If you are asked to do something, then we have to use our intelligence how to execute it. Not that every time you come back and ask every small detail of it. I used to have one brahmachari in our temple long back, and he has a small office, and in the office is filled with so many quotes of so many people. The full walls are fully, pasted with so many quotes. That itself shows how his intelligence is so much agitated. So whenever I would ask him to do something, he would come back with 10 questions. Should I go by bicycle or two-wheeler? And then I would tell him, okay, go by two-wheeler. Then he will say, should I bring the, very expensive one or cheaper one? Like that, he would ask at least 10, 15 questions. And I feel so upset and frustrated that it's better to go myself and buy it than asking this person to buy. Because he every time comes back with some question or the other. So that is not called intelligence. Intelligence means if you are asked to do something, you should use your intelligence how to execute that instruction. That is what intelligence is meant for. Blind following means you come back for every small thing you come back. That is not a very intelligent scenario. So we are talking about when you are surrendering or when you are submissive to someone, do we use our intelligence or not? We use our intelligence for two things. One thing is whether the person who is instructing me is in line with the previous acharyas and scriptures or not. That means there is a concurrence, is there or not. That is one. And the number two is that how to relevantly execute the instructions. What is the abhishtam, or what is the heart's desire of that person? That requires love. Unless you have developed relationship with the person, you will not know what is his actual desire. And if you understand his desire, it is easy to actually implement the instructions. So it's not that Mahajano Yanagatasya Pantha means simply follow their path. That means you have to love the Mahajanas. You have to develop relationship with Mahajanas. When you develop love for the Mahajanas, then you will know what their desires are. It is said, Lord Chaitanya's heart is known by Rupa Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Lord Chaitanya had many followers and disciples, great personalities. Namacharya Haridas Thakur, Swarup Damodar Goswami, and Ramananda Roy. Very, great personalities were his disciples. And Sanatan Goswami, so many people are there. But it is said that Rupa Goswami knew the heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he chalked out a path for the rest of the followers of Lord Chaitanya. So, it's not some mindless activity following someone. Following someone means it requires very careful, intelligent approach. The intelligence will come to us by Krishna when we want to actually love that person, we want to establish a loving relationship with the person from whom we are receiving instructions, then Krishna guides us. Because that is actually surrendering to Krishna. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. The modern disease is you separate the instruction and the instructor. That's a modern disease. And this is not only a modern disease, this is also a very ancient disease which is born from impersonalism. Impersonalists, they don't want to establish relationship with, they first of all don't accept that the scriptures are coming from the breathing of the Lord. They don't accept the existence of the personality of God, the Mayavadis. Because they don't accept the personalities, they will never be empowered to understand what is the essence of the Vedic knowledge. So that is why they keep on speculating. They differ from their previous authorities. That is how you can recognize who is a Mayavadi. A Mayavadi guru told one of his disciples that you go to this place and preach Siddhanta. So the disciple went, and then he started a small center there. He started preaching, and he would give every month a report to the guru. I have done so and so, please instruct me, what should I do next, etc. And then the guru would never respond. So the disciple was bewildered, my guru is not responding. And after some time, some year or so, he writes one letter to the guru. Guru Maharaj, I figured out everything myself, I don't think I need your guidance anymore. Then the guru writes a reply. Now you understood the truth, Tattva. This is what the guru wrote to the disciple. This is what is Mayavada philosophy is. Don't accept the person, invent your own ways. That is what is Mayavada. And today we are all, to a large extent, we have this Mayavada contamination in our heart. We always want to, read in between the lines of the instructions of the guru. Reading in between the lines. I don't know whether you heard that expression. Reading between the lines, they say. Reading between the lines means try to invent something between what is being asked. So, such persons can never reach the truth, understand the truth, follow the truth. So that is why it is said, Tarko Apratishta. You don't try to do Tarka. Okay, I will not do Tarka. I will hear from so many people. This is another disease. Just see. Shrutayo Vibhinnaha. Vibhinnaha means you try to hear from various people and amalgamate all of that and then accept it as truth. How will you be able to amalgamate everything? Unless you are completely clear in your own intelligence. It is like, it is said, we should be like Hamsas. Hamsas know how to separate between milk and water. So are we Hamsas? To begin with, when we are beginning our spiritual life, can we be like Hamsas? We can talk to, or we can hear from various personalities and tries to gain the essence of each person and then amalgamate all of that and find this is the truth. No, we can't do that because we are not Hamsas, we are Himsas. We are very violent in our in nature. So how do we ascertain? So we have to actually follow. So, Shrutayo Vibhinnaha, don't try to hear from too many people. And especially don't hear from those people who differ with others. Nashar Vishir Yasya Matam na Bhinnam. Bhinnam means everyone tries to be in the limelight, wants to be the center in the stage, and wants to establish that what I am saying is right. And if the other person doesn't do that, then he will be outdated. So that is why everybody wants to prove that what I am saying is true. So like this, so many people are there, and if we try to hear from such personalities, we will be completely confused. It's like a khichdi. You make a khichdi out of it. So when we hear from too many people, how do we follow? Whom do we follow? You cannot follow too many people. You have to follow one person. It is very simple, commonsensical, that you can only follow one person. You cannot follow 100 people because everyone is unique in their nature. There may be some commonalities amongst persons, but to completely follow one person, you can only follow one person. You cannot say, I will completely follow 10 people. It's not possible. So, what is the best thing then? You cannot speculate. You cannot hear from too many people. There is a verse in the scripture. Na pravachanena labdhya. You remember that word? Nayamatma na pravachanena na medhaya bahuna shrutena. So, it is said, how you will not be able to understand truth? Na pravachanena, na bahuna shrutena, nayam atma balena. Not by physical strength, not by hearing from too many people, not by giving discourses you will understand truth. But you will understand truth by the mercy of the personality of Godhead. That is the only way that you understand the truth. So, somehow we miss this point because we have been trained in the modern education. Modern education begins with don't accept any authority. That is how the modern education begins. Don't accept any authority. You have to figure out yourself. Everything you have to figure out yourself. You can take help, but you have to figure out everything. No, that is not how the truth is established. So that is why in the Vedic literature, the first principle that is taught is called Amnaya. You know what is Amnaya means? Amnaya means the truth is not searched for, truth is revealed. That is called Amnaya Siddhanta. Everything else comes later. First you have to understand how truth is revealed. Truth is revealed, it's not researched. Etad nirvidyamananam Ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nrapa nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. All the great personalities have already established that yoginam nrupa nirnitam. What is that? Harer namanu kirtanam. That simply doing Hare Kirtana will elevate your consciousness, purify your consciousness. Now to come to this understanding, if you want to do research, you can do so much research, but finally you have to come to this conclusion. Why not accept this from Bhagavatam, which is already establishing that, Harinama Sankirtana is the best course for people in Kali Yuga. We simply accept that, that's it. Everything is over. There's no need of wasting so much time in research and etc., etc., etc. So it's only to satisfy our false ego we try to do that. I figured out myself. But what did you figure out? You figured out the same thing which already the acharyas have already established. Just like if you wanted to know how this tree is flourishing, and you did so much of research that how the tree is flourishing, because the tree, visibly the tree doesn't have any connection, but then you found out that there are roots which are inside the ground and then everything is coming from there. Then you finally found out that, if you put water not at the different, leaves and, other parts of the tree, you have to put water at the root. After so much of research you found, but there is already your neighbor is every day pouring water to Tulsi tree. Who is better? So many years of research wasted because your neighbor is already doing it. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Those who simply accept Krishna, Vasudeva as everything, they are the best of all the jnanis. In fact, this realization comes after many, many, many years, many, many births of jnana. So, why should we waste so much of time just to simply satisfy our false ego? That I figured out myself, I figured out myself. In fact, it takes more intelligence to follow than to figure out oneself. The actual intelligence, the function of intelligence is to accept truth from people who know the truth. That is the real function of intelligence. So that is why in Bhagavatam it is said, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. The word that is used is Sumedasaha. People who are very intelligent, they simply follow that incarnation of Krishna who comes in Kali Yuga by performing Sankirtan, that is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's not some rocket science that we have to find out. It simply requires a little bit of submission. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. It requires a little submission. And if you are submissive, the first thing that we understand is that actually I don't know much, I am a fool. If this realization does not come, we cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. What I know is very little. And not only that is very little, that can be disturbed any time by if my remembrance is taken away. I will not be able to understand and I will not be able to make out anything because Krishna is the one who is giving remembrance. Matta, smrutir, jnanam, apohanam cha. Today at this moment, if my remembrance is taken away, I am finished. All the knowledge that I have is simply useless. I cannot make out what is what. So, not only my knowledge is very tiny, but my knowledge is also depends on the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called truthfulness. This is called understanding that I am very tiny, insignificant and foolish. At any given point of time, this is our only position. Any given point of time, we are tiny, insignificant and foolish. We are nothing more than that. If Krishna wants to empower us, he can empower us. If Krishna wants to take it away, he can take it away. When Arjuna was such a great friend of Krishna, Krishna wanted to bewilder Arjuna for our sake, so he has bewildered him. That is why Bhagavad Gita was spoken. It's not that Arjuna was foolish, but he was put into foolish state. So that means Krishna can do anything. He can make his most intimate friend as a foolish man. And again, when Arjuna was lamenting after everything was over, when Krishna went to the Goloka Vrindavan, and Arjuna was remembering, please don't make noise, Hare Krishna. Please kindly make the, class environment peaceful. In fact, if everybody sits down, that is better. All those who are making photographs, please sit down, it is better. So, when Arjuna was remembering what all Krishna did for the Pandavas, and he was very much lamenting because his friend is gone, left him. Arjuna was feeling when Krishna handed over his queens to be protected by Arjuna, some gwalas, that means some cowherd boys came. Please don't speak, Hare Krishna. Please hear. Kindly hear. Just another 10 minutes, that's all. So the cowherd boys came and stolen these wives of Krishna. So Arjuna was thinking, after all, I could not protect Krishna's wives from cowherd boys. Cowherd boys do not have so many powerful weapons or something like that. Whereas Arjuna was called Mahabaho. Such a great person who fought with great personalities like Dronacharya, Bhishma, Karna. All these people were defeated by Arjuna. Today he is not able to do anything with some cowherd boys, cowherd men. Then Arjuna understood, whatever power that I had, this power is not mine. Krishna has given this power for some time and now it is not required for me. Krishna has taken it away, so I must go back to Krishna. So that means what? We are always, whether you are an eternal associate, whether you are a person who is suffering in this material world, we are always insignificant, we are always tiny, we are always foolish. When Krishna gives us something, we can accept that and use it in service of Krishna. And when Krishna takes it away, we must simply accept that our tiny position. My dear Lord, I am always dependent on you. So when one truly realizes this position, Krishna empowers such a person. And the second thing is, I am talking about how to gain knowledge and realization. First thing is that one must accept that I am very foolish. The second point is that I am suffering. But I am trying to act as if I am very smart here. You ask anyone, how are you? Immediate response, I am very fine. Where is fine? We have one funny story. I will tell you that story and then complete the class. The story name is called Bagundi. Some of you must have heard this story. That there was a Ganesh Pandal was going on and some politicians were called and a lot of people were there. The politicians were asked to climb the stairs or climb the ladder and then garland a big Ganesh, huge big Ganesh. And then the best or the first man, whoever is the most powerful man or in the hierarchy, whoever is the first man, he is asked. So he went, he climbed and he garlanded Ganesh. And when he garlanded Ganesh, everybody clapped. Everybody clapped. A big applause came. So while coming down, he saw the navel of Lord Ganesha. And there was a hole in that navel of Lord Ganesha. So he thought, let us see what is there in the navel. And then he put his finger in the navel. And when he put his finger, there was a scorpion which has stung him. So he doesn't want to be a fool in front of so many people because just now a big applause came. So he pulled out his hand and said, Bagundi, 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 like that he said. Then another big applause. Bagundi means very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice, he said. So then another big applause came. So he tolerated the pain because the applause is coming. He tolerated the pain, came down. And after he came down, nobody bothered. So he went into a corner and he was saying, ba, 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 like this. Nobody bothered about it because his turn is over. The second man came. The second man is also asked to garland. So he went and garland and again big applause came. So while he was coming down, he got an idea. The person who went before me, when he put his finger in the navel, and then he said Bagundi and there was a big applause. Why should I miss that opportunity? I must also put my finger while coming down. So he also put his finger. So when he put his finger, again the scorpion which was lurking there stung him. And again it was a great pain. But now he doesn't want to be a fool. So he said, Chala bagundi, chala bagundi, chala bagundi, he said. That means wonderful, wonderful, like that, he said. And again big applause came. And then he came down, he went into another corner and he was doing ba, 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 like that. The third fellow is asked to go and garland. He also went up, he garlanded. He said, the two big fellows, they have got big applause, while especially when putting in the navel. Why should I miss that opportunity? And then he also put his finger. And after he put his finger, again the scorpion was there, again the scorpion has stung him. Then he said, I must give a bigger expression than the other two. So he said, Mahadbhutam, Mahadbhutam, Mahadbhutam. Like that. He tolerated the pain and then he came down. And then he went into another corner and he was saying the same thing. This is what this material world is all about. That everybody is suffering, everybody is pretending that I am very happy. The actual fact of the matter is, everybody is suffering. And your false ego is so much that you do not want to accept that you are foolish and you are suffering. Once you actually come to your senses and accept this fact, that actually I am very, very foolish, and because of my ignorance and foolishness, I am suffering. Krishna, I need your help, my dear Krishna. My dear spiritual master, I need your help. Please help me. Vyasadeva did that. Vyasadeva, who is the author of all the Vedic literature, when he was not satisfied in his heart, he went and asked Narada Muni, I am suffering, I am not happy. Please, what is that? I tried to assess what is that is making me unhappy. I don't know. Can you please help me? Vyasadeva, the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, he did that. What is our problem in doing this, in accepting this fact? So that is why we are not able to understand the truth, because we have not accepted truthfully our true position, our insignificant, our foolish, our tiny position, and we are not accepting that we are suffering. That is why all this trouble is there. So any sincere man who wants to know the truth, who approaches the Vedic literature with this mode, I want to understand what the truth is because I am suffering, then he will find the coherence amongst the three the three authorities, that is Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Otherwise you will not find the coherence amongst the three, because your motivation is wrong. So that is why it is said, Athato Brahma Jijnasa. Only those who are in Brahma Jijnasa, they will be able to see, they will definitely find a person or find the coherence amongst the three. Otherwise, even though there is so much coherence, we will not be able to find the coherence because our motivation is wrong. You have to be purified of motivation because you are not true searcher of truth. So, a lot of fine things are there in the scripture. We are so gross that we don't even know what is black, what is white. Where do we find these gray shades or the finer shades of this truth? That's a long way for us to go. But at least general people should know what is right and what is wrong by going to some intelligent person who is following another intelligent person. But then there is a long way to go. If you really want to know the truth, then you will know the truth. Once you know the truth, your suffering stops. No one can make you feel despondent. So these are some points. Anyone has any question or comment?
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. In your class, one point was very nicely emphasized about the surrendering to the spiritual authority and taking the knowledge, like in 2.7 and 4.40 and 9.3 in the Bhagavad Gita. In all these places, there is a great emphasis on putting faith, and not remaining faithless. And then finally ending with Karishye Vachanam Tava. All this is perfect. I feel it is also equally important amongst educated people to speak something on the other side of the truth also. Like Krishna says, Vimarshaitat at asheshena. Yatechasi tata kuru. He's saying. So there are two words there. Vimarshaitat means actually vimarshanam means analysis. You analyze with your logic and reason, and then you can think about it. And then yata ichasi tata kuru is actually giving that living entity the choice to do what he wishes to do. There I see that. Similarly, I see that Srila Prabhupada, when he met his spiritual master, he was not even ready to go to him. He had seen many people either blind following the sadhus or sadhus unexemplary. He had seen that before when his father would call sadhus. He even refused to go. When Narayan very much dragged him, then when he went also, he made one argument against preaching Krishna consciousness at that time. But then his guru very logically and reasonably established the glory of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. I was reading recently in Lilamrita, what was the substance that his guru was speaking. It was very logically presented. Similarly, when Prabhupada went to America, in the morning walks, if you see, logical reasoning is given more importance than blind surrender. You will see that Prabhupada says, and Prabhupada says that like when you study biology, every botanical plant, every chemical and chemistry lab, it has its lakshanas. So Prabhupada says, use your brain, check whether these lakshanas are there in a sadhu or in the movement. So he understood that educated people are different from uneducated masses. Uneducated masses are gullible and they simply follow trendsetters. Somebody sets the trend and they blindly follow. But the educated people actually are thinkers and they will challenge. And Prabhupada entertained their challenge, when scientists came to him or educated people came to him. Now you made one point in your class that in the Bhagavatam also, for example, 11th canto, we have 24 gurus. One can learn from different gurus also. For that you made a point that, are we so exalted that we can assimilate from different acharyas, different things like that. And we can say that way and we can keep a person, in his place. We can say that. But we are now living in a world where we are globally connected. It's a global village. So being so, we also have to respect the intelligence of the younger ones who are just now toddlers coming in spiritual life. I observed one thing. When the toddler seekers come to any movement, one of the first things they see is, whether the person who is speaking, is he exemplary or not. Because I feel ashamed to demand surrender because big sannyasis, gurus have fallen. We see that, even after many years of practice. So even myself, I learned one lesson. Don't surrender your intelligence to anybody. Surrender with intelligence. Even now I'll tell you, I have many people whom I follow in my life. I will only follow them if till last breath they are living what they are speaking. The moment a person elopes with a woman or he misuses money, Guraur avaliptasya karya akarya ajanataha, he says, Mahabharata says. If a guru falls from his position and he doesn't know what is to be done, what is not to be done, he is acting improperly, immediately one should pull out, not surrender to him. So I keep my discrimination faculty on and I don't give it up. Not that I just blindly follow somebody. I feel it is not only with me, any honest person. We want sensible and reasonable truth presented. Prabhupada said doubting is a function of intelligence. But when you hear in Guru Parampara which is sensible and reasonable, then one should accept it. But I found your lecture very valuable in one aspect, which is danger of doubting and importance of faith. That part is covered very well. The other part is importance of doubting and danger of blind faith. And that is another part. Then we can have a balance. Otherwise, I feel it becomes like one-sided, which will be unpalatable for educated people. Maybe, village you say this, people will clap hands.
No. I understand your point. Let me give my understanding of what I said. I said that it requires more intelligence to follow than to doubt. Did you hear that in my lecture?
Actually, that intelligence comes initially from logical questioning.
Then logical questioning is the basis for understanding the truth.
No, that is how everywhere it
No,
begins.
no.
No, I gave you many examples now. You heard me. I didn't say one or two on my own. I am giving a Prabhupada meeting his guru. I told you. Krishna saying, Vimarshaita Dasheshena. Even in 6th canto beginning also, Shukadeva Goswami Parikshit. Shukadeva Goswami didn't directly present the holy name. First he told him Karma Kanda.
But the problem is that the truths what we are presenting, if our authorities are Vedic authorities, there is no problem. I am talking about you question someone based on the modern authorities is never fruitful. If you see the same example, Arjuna said to Krishna, he argued with Krishna, he said that I have heard this from my previous authorities. That is what he said.
Actually, we can allow them to question from modern authority also and show how fallacious it is. For example, Sarvam Bhattacharya was a Sanskrit scholar. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him some 64 meanings of the Atmarama verse. Mahaprabhu understood that this fellow's ego is because of his Sanskrit knowledge. And I have to give him, I have to take a thorn with a thorn. So Mahaprabhu didn't tell him that, why don't you speak from Bhagavatam, that's more comfortable for me. He didn't say that. He said, okay, bring your Sanskrit and I'll give you a Sanskrit punch back. Similarly, somebody is bringing scientific logic, then we use the Shastra to show how they are even more scientific than what the modern man is thinking.
My point is that's accepted, that's not dispute. What I am saying is, that's not the eternal process. That is to take you to a certain stage. After coming to that stage, you can't use this process of doubting. Eternally, you can't use the process of doubting to understand truth. Rather, the process of following is what actually makes you realize the truth, is what I'm saying.
That is why I also had a question. For example, there was one great Swami in Russia, many years. He was bringing a lot of funds for the Mayapur also, and a lot of books were also distributed for decades. And then at one point of time, you find a person conks off, So then when would you say that one has to put faith beyond doubt? At what stage? If somebody in this level can fall, somebody in this level can fall anytime.
I'm not talking about falling down. I'm talking about the faith on the scriptures, faith in the saintly persons.
Yeah.
Can we put doubt, keep doubting the scripture and saintly persons and continue the process?
My understanding is, we put faith based on certain criteria. I said sensible, reasonable, exemplary, and per character.
That is exactly what I said. To find the the commonality in the Guru, Sadhu, Shastra requires a great intelligence. It requires great intelligence. We don't follow somebody just like that. We follow somebody because they are following their authorities. Whether it is in parampara or not, whether that parampara is actually following the conclusions of the Vedas or not, it requires great intelligence.
That is true. And also, actually, if you see when a person is developing in spiritual life, that intelligence, what you're talking about now, gradually grows.
That is what I'm saying. But my point is, you have to come to that state of intelligence to realize the truth. You know very clearly that Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tata guru tasyaite katita hyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. That what is it says? One should have implicit faith in Guru and Krishna, then the Vedic literature will be revealed to him in the heart. That is the conclusion of the Vedas. It is not talking about doubting. So that means there is a stage where you go beyond doubting tendency.
That is the Nishtha stage.
Huh?
Nishtha.
Whatever. My point is, you will realize truth only at that stage.
Now my question is, from Adav Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana
There is a journey.
Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha. Now who can say I am a Nishtha, for example?
So that means there is no one who has Nishtha in this our moment.
That takes decades it takes.
Let it take, but I am talking about one must reach to the stage of Nishtha to realize the truth. You can't take through the doubting process even beyond Nishtha.
No, there is no question of doubt, because see, there is a realization from down top, there is a revelation from top down. So as a person grows to Nishtha and Ruchi, then he doesn't only get realization, he gets revelation also.
Exactly.
Yeah, after that.
My point is very simple. The doubting stage is only one stage. It is not a stage to be used forever to get to realization. That is only my point.
My surprise was this only, because this class is being spoken to people who are below Nishtha stage, you know, and people beyond Nishtha stage don't need any class. After that, they are getting revelation from top also, and they don't need a class on faith at all. They don't need, because once the tube light is switched on, there is no more darkness, and we don't even have to announce that the darkness has gone away, you know. And people who are below Nishtha,
Below Nishtha stage, it is not that below Nishtha stage should only utilize the process of doubting as their main process. Even people below Nishtha stage should also follow.
exactly, both go hand in hand.
Both go hand in
Exactly,
hand.
that was the point.
Yeah.
I was telling you there are two sides to the truth.
But my side of saying is, to know the full truth, one must execute this process of actually faithfully following. And to get to the stage of Nishtha, yes, you have to go, trial and error, and you have to go on, sometimes you have to doubt, sometimes you have to accept. All this goes on.
My main problem is this: people who are not even, having reached a very high stage themselves, and we are following them also. Like many times we have mentors and all, for example. Say, I am in Shraddha stage, my mentor is in Sadhusanga stage, I am in Bhajana Kriya stage. And my understanding is, mentor is also in 3 gunas. I am also in 3 gunas. Both of us are struggling. Only thing is, my mentor is more superior to me, more advanced. Therefore, I follow for one reason. Another reason, I love my mentor because my mentor is faithfully practicing. Even though the world poses a lot of challenges, mentor is trying. Mentor may have struggles of his level. I have struggles of my level. So he is certainly bigger than me, better than me, exemplary devotee and faithful, and I have not seen any character hole. So I will follow that. And a stage will come and mentor will touch Nishtha stage and beyond. Then my faith will also increase manyfold over that period of time. That kind of understanding was what I have been having as I progress in my spiritual life. And those who are unexemplary, I have seen with my eyes people who had character holes and they went off. And I didn't emotionally connect with them. Because you were making a point on loving the teacher and all. I will love my teacher, but not to the point of becoming a blind
Full
follower.
surrender. Like you love your parents. You don't love your parents based on their spiritual realization. You have an emotional connect with your parents or some friends. So same way, in our journey in spiritual life, we may connect with people, but that emotion, keeping that emotion of connecting people with is very important, because when you get to the actual stage of realization, you have to connect with that relationship only. If you don't look for relation, the whole purpose of Krishna consciousness movement is to develop loving relationship with Krishna. But if I keep doubting everyone, I'm not saying, doubting everyone very badly, reasonably doubting, carefully taking steps. But one has to keep this in mind that I must develop relationship. When I'm saying, I'm talking about a Siddhanta, I'm not talking about, people who are listening to me should follow like this. I don't mean that. That is very dangerous
Actually, your
philosophy.
point is there in the scriptures. Hayeva sadhushu kruto mokshadwaram apavrita. That point, it makes that. And certainly there is respect for the mentor or authority. Certainly there is affection also.
But as long as they follow, as you said, as you very clearly said, what we should look for in any person, because we are not so spiritually enlightened people, but there is one acumen that we must have, is that whether his speech and whether his actions are matching or not. This acumen Krishna gives. To even the most downtrodden person can be able to find out whether these speech and actions are matching or not. And fortunately, speech and actions match only to a devotee. Mayavada, you cannot find speech and actions matching. Scientists, you cannot find speech and actions matching. You cannot. Theologically, you cannot actually accept. Because their theology itself is based on non-matching of actions and truth. The Mayavadi says that...
Devotee is also in 3 gunas.
Yes.
Tamasic bhakti,
Yes.
rajasic bhakti.
Yes.
There also there is a mismatch.
But I'm saying, when, Ultimately,
their path is the correct path.
path is correct path. And once someone who is on that, as you said, Nishta stage or beyond Nishta stage, you will definitely find his speech and actions are matching. Till that time, one has to keep doubting, that's fine.
Also, we have this Guru Sadhu Shastra check and balance also. I also apply that. Whenever I have suspicion about somebody,
Exactly.
then we apply.
But I said, as I said, unless we are very purely motivated to search for the truth, we also quote from Shastra very, manipulative. Our manipulative nature applies to both Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Everywhere it is manipulative. You will only find those which are relevant to your, which are supporting your theory. Everybody quotes from, even in our Prabhupada's movement also, Prabhupada said this. So that mentality is always there.
Therefore, Prabhupada says, if you want to get cheated, you get a cheating guru, he says. And if you want, looking for the truth, you get the right person.
So we
who
get
guides
cheated
you.
guru even amongst devotees also.
Yeah.
That is what I'm saying.
In that sense, they will get some lower truth rather than getting a higher understanding.
So it is everywhere. It is all pervasive. Whether it is in a scientist guru, whether it is management guru or Mayavadi guru or so-called devotee guru, you will get cheated. So that is why it requires so much intelligence to find the unity in these three: Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Otherwise, we can find ourselves. We try to find, oh, he is matching. Anyway, but I'm grateful to you that you have lifted that other part. All that I was trying to say is that this cannot be taken all the way till the point of revelation. This is only limited.
We have 6 items which we do for the students, like faith in scriptures, doubt in scriptures. Faith in the holy name, doubts about holy name. Faith about Prabhupada, doubts in Prabhupada. Faith in ISKCON, faith about ISKCON, doubts about ISKCON. And faith about devotees.
But my point, Prabhu, we don't have to teach them to doubt. They already know how to doubt because modern education has given them
the
doubt.
We clear it. Yeah. Actually, they bring the doubt. We call it as a
They bring the doubt. We don't introduce the doubt.
No.
They bring the doubt, we clear it.
Yes.
But we cannot.
Actually, we appreciate the faith and we clear the doubt. We call it as a Samshayanash Shraddha Prakash. That's a session.
That's very good.
And by doing that, many of the boys get reasonable and logical understanding, and gradually the darkness goes away. Then they get elevated. Therefore, I was bringing up that point.
Honestly, Prabhu, the darkness will not go away just by trial and error process. The darkness goes away by the mercy. The mercy only when Krishna removes that mercy. Tesham evanukampardam ahamajnanadam jam tamaha nashayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena bhasvata. Through the logic and reasoning, one has never reached the ultimate realization.
But by logic and reason, a person becomes
humble. One definitely
humble.
gets to a very high stage.
A person becomes humble.
Yes.
By logic and reason.
Exactly.
And then when he becomes humble, then he chants the holy name with more sincerity.
Absolutely.
Which attracts the mercy.
That's what we discussed just now in the course of the class. If you actually are intelligent, you will come to know, I'm very tiny, I'm very insignificant, I'm very foolish, and I'm suffering.
And when it comes from here, it is more convincing to me than when it just comes top down only.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. That is your realization.
Yeah.
That is your realization.
And for that to come, the logic and reason is very helpful.
Definitely.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam. Very enlightening class, Prabhuji. Thank you. So my question is, Prabhuji, at what stage the Krishna will reveal to us in the heart? At what stage of bhakti? After Nishta?
Krishna said that this is one level of, going by the ladder, Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya. But Krishna made it more simpler in Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayantite. Those who are constantly satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Their service is loving in nature and they are constantly striving to please Krishna. To such a person, even though they may be, Prabhupada writes in the purport, even though one may be connected to a guru, connected to a movement, still one may not have that intelligence of what is the right thing to do. To such a person, Krishna gives from within the intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So only we have to see whether we are tesham satajuktanam bhajatam priti purukam. That we are doing or not, we have to see. And if we are not doing, our intelligence is always corrupted. It is by default, our intelligence will be corrupted if we are not doing this. So that is the checkpoint for us.
Thank you.
Want to add anything to that?
Actually, our Acharya also said that Tesham Satyuktana Bhatam Priti Purukam. And that stage is actually, that's the point where the raga starts. Why the sadhana bhakti gets over and raga starts. So, because they are in love with the Lord, then the Lord says, I give them the intelligence from within. Till that time, we get from outside. That is the spiritual master and Guru Parampara.
Yes, yes.
And revelation comes from this point.
Obviously, we have guides, we have spiritual master, we get intelligence from them. But beyond that, it's not that, the Guru is always our mobile phone. Guruji, what to do? Just like I gave the example of this man, who every time comes back to me, should I go by bicycle or a scooter? That means, you don't know the basic intelligence. The basic intelligence is that you should know the person's heart. Then, you apply. But who will give that intelligence? Krishna gives that intelligence. Whether it is in a conditioned stage or in an advanced stage, finally intelligence comes from the spiritual, the Supreme Lord. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam. To the extent that we surrender, to that extent we actually get the intelligence. So Prabhupada always said that you get intelligence from within and without. Within in the form of Paramatma and without in the form of the spiritual master. So both intelligence have to be accepted. But there are stages where the physical presence of the spiritual master may not be available. What will you do at that time? Some Vaishnavas, some advanced persons, advice we have to take. We have gone a long time. Thank you all. Thank you, Radheshyam Prabhu, for lifting the other side of it, throwing some light on the other side. And I think by that discussion, everybody has got a balanced understanding of what the tattva is. That is the glory of enlightened persons being present in the Bhagavatam class. Bhagavatam class is not just for the sake of people who just casually hear, but I deeply appreciate Radheshyam Prabhu because he actually sits and hears very carefully and then makes some intelligent comments so that the subject matter is elicited more broadly. Thank you, Prabhu, for that. Hare Krishna. You want to say anything, Prabhu? Anandamaya Prabhu, you are a most senior and most realized person amongst us. You want to make one comment? That will settle the whole. I feel so.
At that time in America, I think that in the 1970s, there was an incident that took place, a very tragic incident in Guyana. One of the gurus, he was calling himself also a guru from the Christian community. He had many followers, and they had assembled together, about 1,000 of them assembled. And that that guru, he told the assembly that now we are all going to heaven. So he distributed some glasses of liquid, some beverage, and he asked all of them to drink. And he also had a glass, and he drank the glass, and everybody drank the glass, and everybody died. 1,000 people, that was in Guyana, became very big incident, very famous. And the government...
when was it? When was it?
1970 something.
Okay.
And no, maybe 80s, I forgot the date exactly. So the government, American government became very much concerned about the spiritual groups, including ISKCON, and they approached some of us and they asked us that, are you also the same as these people there who all of them were passed away? what was the mentality of these so-called disciples? They had full faith, full confidence. They were completely surrendered to their guru, and whatever the guru was telling, they were doing. That was the mentality. Are you also like that? Are you blindly following your guru? They were asking us. So we said, no, we are not like that. We are following Shastra. We are following Shastra. So that was the difference that they made between the so-called gurus and the real ISKCON spiritual society like ISKCON. We are following Shastra. That is the basis. Whatever guru says should be according to Shastra. That was the answer that we gave to the government at that time.
They were pacified.
Yes. They appreciated that.
Prabhupada, I remember Prabhupada when there was this brainwashing case was going on.
Yes.
Prabhupada told his disciples,
Yes.
you read from my books,
Yes.
and the judge asked the
Yes.
judge to read my books,
Yes.
and then give a verdict.
Yes.
Then I think,
Yes. That is different.
actually ISKCON won the case because the judges have read the books and then they finally gave the judgment.
1976, yes.
Yeah.
The news came to Mayapur at that time,
Yeah.
and it was a great victory. Yes. So that's another aspect of it.
That is another
Yes.
aspect. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you so much for you are taking so much of pain for us. No. So, Prabhuji, there was some little